This is a quick test on the audio quality and settings. I feel like everything got a lot louder for no reason. This is a quick test on the audio quality and settings. I feel like everything got a lot louder for no reason. All right. Quick test on the audio quality and settings. I feel like everything got a lot louder for no reason. All right. Am I not allowed to? All right. Well, and sorry guys, bear with me. Sorry guys, bear with me. Sorry guys, bear with me. Alright, so this is character started last night. Probably going to do a little bit of body work today, maybe get a base pose down and see where we go from there. I think he's really big. Alright, so this is character started last night. Probably going to do a little bit of body work today, maybe get a base pose down and see where we go from there. I think he's really big. Alright, so this is character started last night. Probably going to do a little bit of body work today, maybe get a base pose down. I'm just bringing in a base mesh so that I can start with a little bit of a body proportion, and that way I'm not doing everything from scratch here. I already kind of started with a similar setup for the head. Let's mask that section and polygroup it and hide it. Base mesh so that I can start start with a little bit of a body proportion and do that. That way I'm not doing everything from scratch here. I already kind of started with a similar setup for the head. Let's mask that section and poly a bit. Hide it. Zbrush. So I can start with a little bit of a body proportion and do that. I'm not doing everything from scratch here. I already kind of started with a similar setup for the head. All right, done. First things is that his upper body is too tiny, especially for someone who obviously has such a muscular head. So go ahead and scale this body up a bit. Actually, I want to bring this up so I can monitor chat if anyone wants to talk while I'm doing this. It's kind of the end goal here is sort of a Conan the Barbarian done to sort of feel like it's in the Darksiders world. So I have these really cool sculpts of Arnold, and I was using them as a reference to the face, and obviously I didn't want it to look exactly like Arnold by any means, but it has some similarities in the head and jaw and jowls and stuff. And I'm just kind of looking at some Brink artwork as well, some of the Laurel D. Austin's concept art that she did for Brink, which is fantastic stuff. Probably pretty good. I lost symmetry there, but whatever. Start some clay tubes and start just kind of roughing in some forms and filling them out a bit here. things I like about this base mesh is that the fingers are cubes, or they're four-sided, which when I subdivide them properly, which I didn't do, but when I subdivide them properly, it allows me to kind of have, you know, nice thick fingers, which works out great whenever I'm doing kind of more cartoony, stylized pieces, like for a lot of the strife artwork that I did. This base mesh belongs to somebody on Polycount, but I am not sure who, because it was given to me by another employee friend. And obviously it's not the most amazing base mesh in the world, but it gets the job done, especially for sculpting, and it saves a step on having to you know, do lots of Dynamesh, especially since this character is purely human. If I was going for a creature, I'd probably start with a sphere and just sculpt and Dynamesh and sculpt and Dynamesh until I got something that I really liked that way. But for base human, I would say that this is plenty good enough for a starting point. And I can kind of use it as topology later on in some areas. For anyone who cares, Zbrush in 4R6 has changed the ability to have a dynamic brush size, which whenever you zoom in and out, the brush size used to change based on how close you were to the model. And for many years I used that, and so like they added this dynamic button in 4R6, and you could click it, turn it on and off, and that would allow you to turn dynamic on and off. But in 4R7 they changed it, so now you have to hold down shift and then you can click dynamic, and so you can see that as I zoom out, the cursor will be large, which I like, especially whenever I'm going to make big broad strokes on something. A lot of people use like S to change the draw size, but I'm very prone to using like the Photoshop style bracket keys in Zbrush. So I think using dynamic just works for my workflow, and probably also just kind of stubborn because I had to do it for, I don't know, almost 10 years of doing it with dynamic not being an option, so I don't like it. I'm not really looking at any reference right now, which is kind of a mistake. I should have grabbed reference before I started this. The glutes. I'm going to divide this guy up a little bit further. I'm going to quickly assign some polygroups so that you can hide and show parts of the mesh. Oops. Doing a little too many keystrokes at once there. Just want to add a little bit of gesture to the character's pose. Most characters for games, you obviously want them to be T-posed for rigging and lots of other reasons, but having it being slightly more neutral as opposed to a perfect T just helps the character, I think, look a little more realistic, and it helps you see the forms and things a little bit better. And most auto rigging setups and stuff have all kinds of features for, you know, once the character's skin, bringing it into T-pose for animation. I'm sure some people like and some people don't, but this guy will be going into Unreal when I'm done. He's sort of a test character for a game project that's kind of far out in the works, but I wanted to have something to kind of test and get more excited about the project as it slowly gets developed in Unreal. So I'll probably be using the Unreal rigging tools that they have to rig this character. And that will automatically, after I've placed all the bones and lined everything, it automatically puts the character into T-pose. Like straight, perfect T-pose. I'll also do some polygroups down here on the hands. And save often because Zbrush loves to crash. At work, I used to have a sign on my monitor that was just a little piece of paper that I stuck to my monitor. It said "fucking save," so I would remember to effing save. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on Twitch, but I'm pretty sure it's okay, considering gamers. This character's kind of stylized and a big dude. Kind of widen his feet a little bit. Kind of helps sell how heavy he is. I'm not 100% sure how big I'm gonna make him. Just yet, but I like where the head is at for the moment, so definitely want it to fit with the head. those who don't know and care about that sort of thing, the bicep has 2 points of origin, or 2 points of insertion, or 2 points of origin. I'm not sure how to use the term properly, but it has 2 heads, and one connects up and into here, and one connects up and to the acromion point of the clavicle. So one way to make the bicep look a little bit better is to have the connection small and tapered down here, and these you don't want to overly define this shape because fat and skin kind of fills it out, but to give it 2 heads, kind of give it like a little bit of a gap as it approaches underneath the shoulder. It starts to look a little bit more realistic. Obviously right now nothing is looking good because this is the very beginning. I'm still just trying to decide how large I actually want the muscles to be. silhouette. Just make sure that I'm kind of getting close with the proportion. I think obviously this space is too wide at the moment still. If the audio quality isn't too like completely terrible, I know there's like a coming from something and I'm not really sure. I know it's my fans, but I can't hear it without the headset on, so I think it's just a really high frequency that the microphone's picking up that I can't hear. Because even when my fans are low, on low speed, it still makes that noise. So I'm working on trying to get to building a water cooling system so that I can get a really quiet setup in here and not have background noise from the computer. And we can all just sit and listen to my Wacom pen and my mouse and the keyboard clacking and rubbing. Just 1 second. I'm gonna grab my mannequin reference, which is still boxed up because I haven't unpacked it yet. is my freedom of teach statue, which is pretty awesome. He's been an awesome reference for many years. And has a good layout of some of the like, you know, the skeletal structure and everything. Its arms come off and on, but you know, it allows you to see the shape of the deltoid as it wraps around, and in 3 dimensions. So you don't need this. You can always just look up pictures online, but he can be pretty useful, that's for sure. Get my ugly mug out of there. This is one of the worst spots on Space Mesh. It's something I've fixed in another iteration of it, but I'm not using it right now because it has other stuff that I didn't want. But it comes to like a pinch here with the geometry, so when it subdivides, that pinch just basically always stays there. So it makes it kind of hard to sculpt good hands in the sense of getting that like bit of skin that you know, that occurs right here, the little webbing. And still, by the time I get to the high poly levels, the really high dense, you know, million polygon counts, I usually don't see the pinch anymore. Kind of really need to start thinking about the form of this arm because it's a little hack and slash together, and it doesn't look very accurate at the moment. inside here you have a small brachialis muscle. That is not part of the bicep. Bicep is over here. The brachialis is, or I don't know the actual name, something like brachialis, and it's right in there. Mostly it's never defined, even on extremely buff bodybuilder people, but I think especially from these angles it usually helps to build out the form of the bicep. And the deltoid comes to halfway down the main arm bone, and it actually attaches to that bone, dead center, and through the rest of it. I wasn't planning on this being some sort of anatomy lesson or anything. I really just wanted to sculpt something today, and I wanted to do a stream tomorrow about game design stuff and scripting, and I wanted to see how the audio and everything was going to go. So we'll see here in a little bit how everything sounds. Trying to get something that looks pretty decent as far as locking in all the large shapes and having the proportions. looking up his gooch. Gooch shot. That doesn't work. I hate this material. Why it's still the default material and Zbrush is beyond me. I just haven't brought these over yet, so I have to load one in like the Mudbox sort of shader. Yeah, I know. It's not Bloodborne. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Oh, but Seth, this is for, or it's not for, but potentially for Paradise, for Codename Paradise. No one gets to know what that is, though. But yeah, this is a Barbarian cap guy that I wanted to build. It's loosely based off of Arnie. Addled. Yeah. But yeah, it wouldn't let me edit the name for some reason. It errored when I tried to edit the name. So, for now it's Bloodborne. see any glaring issues with the sculpt at this stage, Seth, let me know. Just tell me how long I've been streaming. Yes, the head is not connected to the body. This is very true. I will have to try to fix that. I'm not sure if I'm good enough to connect the head and the body together. I want to know how long the stream's been going. Well, I don't know. What time is it? Let's check that out. It's 2:56. Probably been doing this for an hour now. Autosave. Let's do a real save. I guess I should start calling this something else. Barbarian base sculpt 01. Sure, why not? Ooh, Robot Man. Metal Man. some manscaping here. Not destroy the hand, that would be good. I think the stream needs music or something, man. But then I'll get muted. Smooth everything down and kind of see where everything's at, and then come back and fix the forms up. I subdivided it because that way it doesn't, the smooth brush doesn't have such a drastic effect on everything. I think I'm at a point where I also need to grab some more reference so that I can decide where I want to take stylization of the anatomy, which I know is stupid that I didn't grab it before I started this, but I think we're coming on a little over an hour now, so it's probably a good enough test for today. Check out and see what the audio sounds like when this file gets archived. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down for today, but I will be back, and hopefully with some better settings. So, all right. Thanks again for tuning in, and we are out of here.